So, when it comes to this path of removing anxieties from your mind, there are a lot of different things that you can work on. I've mentioned some before in previous videos, different tactics, different reasons as to why you are experiencing anxiety. But in my opinion, to its deepest core, the deepest root of anxiety a lot of times is because of the inability and the basically just being completely unable to control the sexual desire and the sexual urges. And that can be experienced through a lot of different ways. It can be pornography, it can be sleeping around, it can be, you know, masturbation. It can be expressed in a variety of different ways. But ultimately, it is the inability to have control over those things. When so for my past, there were a large percent of my teens, young, mid-20s, low 20s, where I had zero control over the sexual desire, sexual urges. And because of that, you're not able to have control over these other areas of your life. So the inability to control the sexual urges and desires, and having that energy basically coming out and being wasted. When one is able to take hold of that, and it can be done through a lot of different ways and tactics, and not just holding it in, but holding it in and having a meditative or yoga practice where that energy does not get stagnant and built up. But once you start on the path of overcoming anxiety, that right there, it is the hardest thing to do. It is the hardest thing for a man to do, to be able to take control. Like, food is hard, and there's a lot of different urges and different things, biologically, that we have that is, it's hard to overcome. But ultimately, the sexual desire and the deep down survival instinct in us, taking control over that one is the ultimate hardest thing to do for a man. And for me, it was, struggling with a lot of different things at different stages in my life, but I did not have control. And because of that, I did have all these anxieties on top of it. I already had a lot of anxiety. I had social anxiety. I had all these things. But I truly did not see a big difference in my life until I was doing cold plunges, I was doing saunas, I was working out, I was doing yoga, I was playing basketball. I had some healthy hobbies, cooking, all these different things I was doing, hanging out with friends. I still had that anxiety, and it was simply because I didn't really have control. The anxiety coming in hot all the time, I didn't have the control. I didn't have the mind control and the inability to stop those thoughts. And so as I built up energy and willpower with the practices, sauna, cold plunge, running, working out, yoga, those things, once that all was combined with semen retention, celibacy, whatever you want to call it, there's different levels to it. But once I started, even just going 2-3 weeks without doing it, without releasing, was a game changer. Once you start this practice of keeping your energy within and not releasing it unconsciously, it's the biggest thing. It has to be conscious. If it is being done at all, it needs to be conscious. You want to be able to move throughout your life in all things consciously. When the urge comes to eat, being able to say no to that and being able to eat when you are actually hungry, That is something that is very, very hard to do. So it works in a lot of different ways, but as you start with the sexual urges and working on that, you will notice very, very fast how it translates to other areas in your life, aka anxiety. You will be able to, once you start this, it is hard, but once you start doing it, you will see that the other areas of your life are significantly, like the problems of everyday life are not as intense. You're able to see things a little bit more clearly. Your mind is, you're getting more energy also, but your mind is all this mental energy that is going towards, I mean, sometimes it's being stuck in the mind, but also this mental energy that is sexual thoughts, fantasies. That is a big part of males' minds. That's what goes on quite a bit. So when you're able to sublimate and lessen that, even if it's just, you know, a few days without it, and then it's going to be stacking on top of just more and more and more. It's not a quick fix. This is, you know, having control. There's different levels to it. Monks who've, you know, been celibate for 10, 20 years, that's a different level of control. But there are different stages and levels to it. But once you get past that 2 weeks, that's where the peak, in my experience, the peak energy is around 2 weeks, where it's like, this is hard. It's so hard. And that was the barrier for me. But once I got past that, that's that 2 weeks. And then, you know, as you go, that you realize that is one of the bigger barriers. And then you start hitting layers, 3 months, 6 months. I've done it, you know, around like 14, 15 months a few times, or once 15 months, once about like 9 months. But once you go, and the streak is not everything, but there are different levels to it. And like I said, the monks who've done that sort of practice for 20 plus years, those guys are on a completely different level. But it doesn't really matter about that far. You just want to start doing the small things with this practice, and, you know, making sure you have a creative outlet. If you are going to pursue this and go at something this difficult, you need to have some sort of creative outlet, and using your energy through physical working out, yoga, running, whatever it is. You have to have some sort of outlet so the energy within does not get built up. That was a mistake I made early on in this practice. I didn't have enough creative outlets. And so this is a very vague topic, and it's a big topic. It's very vague. You could go a lot of different directions with it, because it doesn't just help with anxiety. There's a lot of other benefits. But strictly for this video, I think that if you take this seriously and you truly want to see your anxiety lessen, you want to work on getting your mind to be less active, which is what is going on with anxiety. Your mind is doing this, and you can't stop it. Mind is yapping, and you don't have the ability to quiet it. That's the root, or that's ultimately what's going on with anxiety. So that correlation and that comparison should be pretty clear, and you want that voice to become quieter. You got to start doing hard things. You got to start doing things internally, but the deepest and the hardest one to conquer, it's never a for sure, like a, you know, you can fall right out of it pretty quickly, even someone very, very disciplined. Once you start working at it, even when you just start getting in the early stages of trying to control your sexual energy, you will start to see the anxiety, and the voice becomes less and less. You will see, obviously, more confidence, more energy. There's a bunch of stuff with it, but I think you will see a big difference with anxiety. So I think you got to just give it a shot, because the only way to find out is if you actually, you know, try to do it. So go for it.